Beware, listeners, as you dive into the depths of episode 2 of the Outlaw Crypto podcast, where the sinister airwaves transmit the words of Sean, the project manager of the Veil privacy coin. But let's peel back the layers of this cryptographic onion to reveal the true core of conspiracy. Sean, oh yes, Sean with his words about privacy, about security, about Veil. But what veils are really being drawn here? Across the globe, the gangster computer god, with its worldwide secret containment policy, casts its all-seeing eye, controlling us through our own data, our own secrets. Yet here comes Veil, promising to cloak us from this all-knowing, all-controlling, omnipresent surveillance. Listeners, as Sean spins his web of privacy-enhancing cryptographic techniques of delivering an effective counterattack to the surveillance machine, remember the machinations at work behind the scenes. The worldwide mafia, armed with their Frankenstein radio controls, manipulating the masses through fear, through the illusion of omnipotent and total worldwide surveillance. But what is anonymity in an age where every digital whisper is cataloged, dissected, fed into the insatiable maw of the computer god? So I say to you, my fellow humans, listen closely, but listen critically. For in the world of cryptocurrency, not all that glitters is gold, and transparent chains may be the thinnest layer of all, a mere curtain before the stage on which the grand performance of control and surveillance plays out, directed by the unseen hands of the gangster computer god and its worldwide mafia underlings. Stay vigilant, stay awake, and never forget that behind every promise of security, behind every digital device, lurks the shadow of control waiting to ensnare us in its grasp. The Outlaw Crypto Podcast, Episode 2, is but a chapter in this grand saga of rebellion. Beware, beware, beware.
So, welcome back to the Outlaw Crypto Podcast. This is Episode 2. I'm very, very happy to have someone here from the Veil project. Sean is joining me from Veil, which is a privacy coin that was created by one of the former founders of Pivx, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right, Sean?
That's right. Yes, that's right.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm super interested in Veil, like personally. Like privacy coins are my main area of interest in crypto right now. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and thank you.
Thanks for having me. Good to hear you're in the same country I am. So I'd really like to do some collaboration at some point.
Yeah,
and
I'm not that far from you either.
Yeah, I can probably see you from here, and it'll still take 5 or 6 hours the way roads are. Look, I can see the volcano nearest you from our house.
Okay, I just went there like a month ago.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, we got as far as the car park, and my wife said it was cold, and she said, "Take a photo while I turn around and let's go." We couldn't see anything. We see it better from our house.
Tell people where we are. We're in Colombia. Yeah. I'm
okay.
in the coffee region, and you are located in what region?
I'm somewhere near La Mesa in Cundinamarca, which is southwest of Bogota. If people know Tequendama Falls, well, you go down that road and keep going.
How did you find out about Veil in the first place and get involved with the project?
Well, I was basically just discovered providing tech support for someone, just voluntarily helping them out on the Pivx forum, and I checked out something where a Pivx clone had an exploit. And so I looked into that and worked out that Pivx was not vulnerable to it. They'd already fixed it. And anyway, it happened to be that James, the founder of Pivx, discovered me there and thought, oh, you should join us as tech support. And so I did. And that was in 2018. And here we are several years later, with a lot of history, a lot of water under the bridge, which we can go into if you're interested.
Yeah, I would like to get into that for sure. But before we turn the recorder on, we were chatting a little bit, and you mentioned that you have quite a history in crypto to begin with. You were around Bitcoin from the very first days. Do you want to tell people a little bit about your history?
Yeah, yeah. Well, unfortunately, I didn't mind any because back then it was not as easy as it is now with dependencies and everything. And they even started. I'm pretty sure I remember it correctly that they started on Windows, and so I didn't manage to build it. I was trying to build the Bitcoin Core version in December 2008, ready for the Genesis block and for everyone to go. They said that if you built it and tried, we'll give you a Bitcoin. You know, I can't remember who that was. Maybe it was Hal Finney said that. So unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. I did follow it on the mailing list for a while though, until the Silk Road came out, and then I didn't want to be involved in that. I didn't like that stuff. I didn't like all the drugs and other worse criminal activity that was implied on that. So I actually quit. I quit. And then several years later, I thought I'd pretty much missed the boat when there were faucets. Well, there'd been faucets, and then they were doing Doge and stuff like that, Dogecoin. And I thought, well, you know, it looks like I missed it until 2017. I was in Colombia in 2017, pretty much cut off from the world. You know, living in a tent on the land we'd bought, ready to build this house here. And so I did not trade anything. I didn't trade until I was back in Australia. I did a short trip to Thailand and saw a Bitcoin AGM. And I got back to Australia, went to a Bitcoin seminar, and I thought, this is the singularity for Bitcoin. And I thought it's all going to happen now. You know, by the time Coinbase approved my KYC and account, it was ready for the very, very, very top. I was buying over 20,000 US dollar Bitcoin as much as I could at Christmas of December 2017. And you know, firstly on Coinbase and then on local Bitcoins and stuff like that. And then I averaged down for the whole next year. And then I discovered other things, lost money in other things. But then I discovered Veil, just about to launch.
Okay. And were you active in the PIVX community before you became a part of the Veil community?
I was not very active. I was actually a victim of a scam that had a PIVX clone. And I don't think I'll go into who that was, whatever. They still, I think it was, well, I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but he suffers severely from Dunning-Kruger. Is that the one?
Yeah,
the one, people who think they people who think they are amazing geniuses. So some of his intentions obviously were apparently seem well-intentioned, but basically he spent the last 5 years ripping people off, selling masternodes, and totally centralized everything. He ended up taking the wallet software off GitHub, and it's basically the software is secret. It's open source software, but it's secret. For that scam. Anyway, so I learned, that's how I learned about PIVX software, because that's where it was cloned from. And as it turned out, there were a huge number of PIVX clones. But anyway, so I was able to provide tech support even to PIVX people when I very rarely occasioned on the PIVX Discord. And then James found me, and I joined Veil in December 2018, just before their launch. They had actually intended to launch in early December, but they weren't quite ready and launched on January 1st.
How similar and how different would you say that Veil and PIVX are? I know they share like a common lineage. Has Veil added a bunch more bells and whistles? Or?
Yeah, well, Veil was completely fresh written, like using Bitcoin software code, basically. and adding ring CT, which people are used to seeing on Monero. So, but Monero is not based on Bitcoin. So then it was and is proof of work plus proof of stake at launch. The way those kind of projects worked, you would have to start with proof of work. You can't start with proof of stake because the first guy to get a block has got all.
Yeah, for the fair launch.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. So there was no pre-mine. Well, I'll tell you what, after the first month, the guy who had 2,000 was making a fair bit in staking. But yeah, we haven't heard from him for a long time. Smash and Bash was his name, and that was his character too. He liked to smash and bash his way through. He did pretty well. I think I can't remember if it was him or not, but you'd hear stories like what Craig Wright used to talk about, having a whole room full of computers. He had like a whole. I think he had a whole classroom full of computers staking. But mining is key to Vail, and it started off with R16T. Something. It was yeah, and anyway, that went for a while until it was basically ASIC, and then we changed to a triple algorithm. So we got SHA 256B with 5% of the blocks. We got prog power with 15% off the top of my head, and we got random X with 50%, and staking with 50%. So that covers it all. Yeah, and really the difficulty adjustment was specially written and really you can't you can't exploit it. I guess that's sending out a challenge to people. But I run testnet and devnet, and I would have done many hundreds of thousands of transactions. Across testnet, mainnet, not so devnet. I mean, except for all the staking on devnet, just to keep it running. I also, this is probably too technical for people really, but I do script mining just to make sure it keeps going. We really need mining. Someone suggested once that we should drop SHA, but I need that. I need SHA at least. SHA is our best. It's a good fallback because my computers, I don't have any really good mining rigs or anything like that. But any old computer can do SHA. You only need one thread. You need one thread. Well, you need another thread to do anything else with a computer. But if you've got four cores rather, if you've got two cores, you can do it. And you've probably got four threads for your two cores. And if you've got four cores, you can stake and you can mine on the same wallet, no problem. My newest computer is from 2013, so Moore's Law's not working for me so much.
Can you clarify, I guess, the different roles? You mentioned that there was ASICs at first, and it kind of sounds like you guys have switched to ASIC-resistant algorithms now. And then there's also staking. So there's three different mining algorithms. What are those three different mining algorithms securing? And then what role does staking play, within the Vail network?
All right. Well, staking gets 50%. And mining together, those three algorithms get the other 50%. Well, if people completely drop one, it still works. The only thing that's required though, you have to have one staked block in 6. Okay. So I find on testnet, because obviously mainnet never stops, but I always have wallets staking. But if mine is offline, then it will take mine to get it started again. It'll take a mine block.
Okay.
So it's very handy to have mining.
I believe that proof of work is probably better, I guess, for consensus than staking. Personally, that's my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the thing about staking is that it allows more people to participate. Not everyone has a computer good enough to be successful on mainnet. And mainnet's where it matters because all the others are basic. pretend coins. Well, just for testing, really. I recommend testnet because you can try out everything, try all the different commands, see what breaks, because it doesn't matter. There's no monetary value for testnet coins. And if you want to be a testnet millionaire and you get used to it, you learn what to do in real life.
Yeah.
And so I got used to having millions of sale on testnet before I had any large number on mainnet. We didn't get our first pay until February of 2019. So in fact, the community who were mining, I tried. I remember that day. I tried and I missed by about. I missed out on mining right at the beginning when it would have been, because the difficulty is so low to start with, and someone gets a whole bunch, or might end up with 100 blocks or something like that. But I can't remember exactly how many it was. But I didn't get any of them. I was trying. The timing was that I didn't get any, and it was just other community members got them, and they got active. And staking did not come in. Had to wait till the 15,000th block or something like that. So there was no staking for 15,000 blocks.
Okay.
So it was all up to the miners, and then when staking came in, it was spread out a bit more evenly. But I still didn't have any. Personally, I still didn't have any. I invested more later.
Right now, I'm currently staking Veil, and the block reward for staking, I believe, is like 10 Veil is what I've earned for my staking rewards. Like for each time that I've earned staking rewards. What's the mining block reward like for mining a block?
Mining block reward is the same amount. So you can have a look at the Explorer or something like that, and you can see each block whether it was staked. And if it's staked, at the moment we're using a lightened version of ZeroCoin because, I don't know, you may not be aware, or maybe you are. There was in the middle of 2019, there was an exploit on ZeroCoin, and there were basically two. The first one we didn't really get hit by, and the second one we did. And James, our founder, really took a big hit. He basically covered the entire loss. It's all been recouped. So basically there was some accelerated inflation on a ZeroCoin exploit, and he gave up the founder reward and all of that. But now it's all caught up, and we're back to how many Veil there would have been now. Anyway, so we cut off the amount of Veil that was being generated over time to make up for the inflation that was done by the exploit. So ZeroCoin was lightened. Basically, it is, and we warn everyone in the wallet that ZeroCoins are only private now if you mint them from RingCT UTXO. So, because RingCT is already private. Now, it's potentially possible that someone could build a wallet that determines where a ZeroCoin, a lightened ZeroCoin, is minted, and we had to do that in order to combat the exploit in the first place. Now, so basically, it's possible. You can't do it with the released client, of course, but someone theoretically could write. They could fork their own version of the wallet and change something so that they can track where a ZeroCoin was minted from, which UTXO. So if you do that from a base coin Veil, which hasn't been made private yet, so then it could be traced back to that UTXO and therefore the address and possibly to your KYC exchange or whatever. So if you send them to RingCT, which we recommend everyone does, then you can mint some ZeroCoin, and there's no way to trace them back because they're already made private by RingCT. That way, your staking is still private, and you get 10 Veil. Back in 2019, it was 50. then every year there's been 10 cut off. We're at the final point now where it's just 10. And so it's 10 where basically a zero coin is called zero coin because there's zero history. It gets minted, and when it's spent, it goes straight to a stealth transaction, CT they call it, confidential transactions. Now that there's one more step of sending it to ring CT, and there was basically zero coin can't be sent directly to ring CT just to avoid another exploit, which we never suffered, but we did help another project with that. And so when sending base coin to ring CT, you have to send it through stealth, the CT stage of it. Same thing with the zero coin. When you spend it, it goes to if you use the stealth address, it goes to the stealth or CT state, basically. You can then send it to ring CT. With spending a zero coin, you can send it to a base coin address, and people do if they're dealing with the Trade Ogre or Probit exchange. But our most recent exchange, non-KYC exchange, which is good because it's non-KYC, as Trade Ogre is also no KYC. Probit is KYC, and that's based in Korea. But it's still a reasonably popular exchange. We don't do a lot of volume on it. Well, sometimes we do. I keep active on there as much as possible. So it has its moments, Probit. A lot of exchanges we've been on, when they went KYC, basically everyone stopped using it. So we're not on them anymore. And Probit, well, it still keeps going. And I occasionally, it went to 6 cents per veil a few months ago, and sometimes it hits us a bit over a cent, which it has on all the exchanges. Well, not so much Trade Ogre. Trade Ogre is a good exchange, but we only have a BTC pair with Trade Ogre. On Probit, we have BTC and USDT, Tether. On non-KYC exchange, we have Monero, USDT, and Bitcoin. Also, there are liquidity pools on that exchange. So not a lot of people have found it yet, but the liquidity pools are on. I've set up liquidity pools personally, and some others are already set up. We're already set up. But yeah, you can even swap it for Litecoin, or back into Veil from Litecoin if you like, and Monero, and there's also a liquidity pool for the NKYC token itself. I thought that would be useful. So that's probably the least used. The ones that have the liquidity pools that have a normal market, like an active market, they maintain the volume. They maintain the transaction volume quite nicely. It keeps it trading all the time. You should try it.
Do you want to give a quick rundown on what you mean when you say base coin? You explained what a zero coin is in CT.
Base coin is basically where it behaves exactly like Bitcoin, okay, with no privacy, basically. It's transparent, fully transparent. You can see it on the blockchain. Our Explorer doesn't show all the transactions like some other Explorers, but there's nothing stopping anyone building an Explorer that tries to look at history of an address. But there's probably not a lot of incentive for Veil because, UTXOs just vanish into stealth and then ring CT. So there's not really a continuous path to follow. So yeah, it behaves exactly like that. We have to use base coin for exchanges that aren't set up for accepting stealth addresses. That's basically one reason. The other thing is that mining, if you're mining, you get it in a base coin state. So It's on an address, and people could see that address and see your balance on the Explorer. But of course, the thing to do is send it to ring CT, and no one will ever get a history from you. If you're not registered with any KYC exchange, there's no data on that either. And so base coin you've got exchanges, you've got mining, and the other thing is multi-sig. Multi-sig. We use just the same technology as Bitcoin in multi-sig, with the caveat that Veil is based on the 2019 version of Bitcoin. We haven't done an update, although that's definitely being considered. Just as a nicety, it's not really essential, but although some people might be thinking, as soon as I say this, yes, it is essential. You must stay up to date with the current Bitcoin. But really, if you look at at the whole crypto market, how many coins, how many different cryptos are really based fully up to date with the latest Bitcoin? Maybe Litecoin, maybe them. Bitcoin Cash refused to do SegWit, but they're still up there with it. They're very up to date. So you can do multi-sig and everything. I don't know really many people doing it, but the team does multi-sig. That's how we're paid. And obviously we're only paid in Veil. We're not paid in BTC or anything else. So as low as the price is, if we get back to what I want, I will be rich.
Are there any plans to get Veil on any decentralized exchanges? I know the 3 exchanges you mentioned are
yes,
centralized.
Yes, there are. Basic swap decks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we'll be on there once their new rewrite is completed. So, one of the things I plan on doing is participating in the beta a bit more than I have so far. Yeah, they've told us that we will be added. So that will be great, and we'll be able to. It's got a lot of potential, that text, and without having to wrap the coin or anything like that. So that's pretty epic.
I want to do an interview with those guys too. I've been kind of trying to contact from Particl, get someone from either Particl or Basic Swap to come on and speak about both projects. Also, what's interesting is the market that they have. They have like anonymous market aspect to the project.
Yeah, I tried that in beta years ago, really. But I always planned on getting more involved in their Particl marketplace, and obviously I will once we get on to the Basic Swap deck. What's
planned for Veil's roadmap? Like, what do you guys have planned for 2024?
It's hard to talk about it because people haven't done enough work on it. There's outstanding work, and I mean outstanding as in it should be outstanding. It's not done yet, and that is to change staking from 0 coins to Ring CT. And we're really looking for some more devs to help in that. Because the ones that have begun the work on it have been busy with other things, really. There is a proposal to upgrade the software base of Bitcoin from the 2019 version, newer version. But we're looking for more devs to join. And I have to admit that some of the devs have dropped off simply because Veil is not worth what it used to be. So I remember how many Veil I bought for my first Bitcoin that I spent on Veil. And it's crazy. Because when you're talking about, in early 2019, people were spending 5,000 sats pretty much ongoing for a few months at least. So not just a peak, not just a spike. It was, 5 to 6, 7, I've seen 10, 1,000 sats for one Veil. So now lately it's more like 10 sats, 10, 13 sats. So people who spend entire Bitcoins on Veil, like myself, we're in. Some people became inactive, really, because they were motivated beyond money. And I'm motivated beyond money. We're making a privacy coin that works, and it does work. And so there are a few devs that we've got that they can't spend as much time on it as they might. We have a developers Discord that's separate from the main community Veil project Discord. There are links on our website, veil-project.com, and also you'll find it in the profile of the Twitter account. Personally, I'm planning on some pretty major Discord reorganizing, really, because what I'd like to do is have new teams set up. I'm encouraging people to become a new guard for Veil, and I'd like to have very clearly defined teams and Discords that can really focus on specific things. Anyone can sort of join, and they can make their own suggestions, whatever. But things that are really good that people agree on, then we can start working on. Not everything will be ever done by the core team, of course. People can write their own projects that are complementary to Veil, and people have done that. Like the Veil Tools, which does a lot of statistical. Hang on, that's not Veil Tools. No, Veil Tools does a whole bunch of stuff, but it was written not by the core team. Although when people write things like Veil Tools and the Veil Explorer and Veil Stats, the Veil Stats is the one I was told. These were all written on someone's own initiative, and of course, these people all ended up in the core team after they'd done that. So I could suggest that that's a good way to get into a coins team, to prove yourself by writing something. Every day we get people saying, "I am like they just they just copy and paste someone's so-called resume with all the buzzwords in it. Web3 developer, I'd like to work for Veil. It's like, we're not even doing Web3, thank you very much. I'm skilled in, and then they'll list all these things that are just, buzzwords that none of them, unless they say C++, they don't say C++ because it's not one of the buzzwords. It doesn't mean they can't write a project, but most of them are scammers. They just copied and pasted buzzwords from a resume, and they expect to get a job that pays dollars or something, or Bitcoin. And we don't have Bitcoin, and we don't have dollars. We've got Veil.
There's an epidemic of people that are using Chat GPT and writing spaghetti code.
There's an epidemic of people doing that every day, without fail. Yeah. So I've got some reorganizing to do. There are plenty of ideas. I probably can't really talk about all of them because they might. It gets a problem if you talk about something and no one's developed it yet. Then it doesn't come across well to some people. If I say, oh, we could do this, and then we'll be on that DEX. Well, the only one we're sure of is the basic swap DEX, but there are ways of getting on other DEXs, but they usually require wrapping and stuff like that. I'm not going to announce that we're going to do something like that until we've basically proven that we can do it. But no, I can't make any promises or anything like that until we get a lot further along the way. But good things can happen.
What role do you see for Veil, like in the, I guess, like overall privacy coin, like genre of crypto?
I don't think we're looking to usurp Monero's role, but a lot of people might find, a lot of people who are familiar with Bitcoin might find, Bitcoin code, might find it easier to work with Veil if they're developing something. But yeah, they're the market leader, I think. I can't say from our position, we were, I remember when we were number 300 on CoinGecko, but we're a long way down from there now. So I think it would be a bit too presumptuous to say, we're going to be the world's global money. There's going to be hyper-veilization. But we do provide privacy coin that works, and I think it will be one of the privacy coins. It'll be one of the threads of the fabric of privacy coins. People might swap in and out. They can do that with non-KYC exchange. They'll be able to do that with basic swap decks. Imagine when there was a comment in episode 1 about, Satoshi hasn't even been found. But of course, he hasn't done anything for so many years. He hasn't done anything to get found. How is he, if I don't think he's alive, but if he is alive and if he ever wants to spend any of those original Bitcoin, he's not going to be able to go to Coinbase or Binance. I haven't used Binance pretty much since 2018. As soon as they said 100% KYC, it's like, no.
Yeah, that's when I stopped using
I
it.
don't think so. I hadn't used them for years. Yeah, I hadn't used them for years anyway. In fact, there's a lot less people saying when Binance now than they were back 5 years ago. But yeah, so he would have to swap, maybe in basic swap decks, into some of the privacy coins there. This could be a big thing if they really wanted to get, sort of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin moved, and they use privacy coins, and we're one of them. The world doesn't have just one, and it's the normal nature of an economy that there's more than one. Who knows? We might not be the Mercedes-Benz. It's probably not a really good thing now, but I mean, they were the original car, the original manufactured car. Some people think it was the Ford, but that was only the first assembly line car. But we might not be the prestige one yet, but we provide a lot more privacy than a lot of claimed privacy coins. In fact, if you look at some list of privacy coins, you think, what? How are they a privacy coin? Just because they've got dandelion or something. We've got dandelion. That's one of the things. But you don't launch an entire coin on dandelion. That's just one aspect of privacy. Yes, you can run the Veil wallet through Tor browser. I do. Yeah. So it's good privacy, but the more people that use it, the better it is. If there's only one person using Veil, and I'm not saying that's the case, but if there was, it wouldn't matter how much privacy you had, would it?
In my opinion, I think that privacy coins are, like, right now, some of the most overlooked and underrated projects in crypto. I feel like privacy coins are the only crypto projects that are like holding true to the original goals that Satoshi and some of the original cypherpunks like intended for crypto. And I feel like the rest of the market, like in this fixation for greed and just trying to make money, gain more dollars, basically more fiat, has kind of strayed from the original intention of crypto. So like when people realize the importance of privacy coins, I believe there's going to be a flood into privacy coins, and people are going to be looking for any sort of option, whether that be Veil, whether that be Wownero, whether that be Fira, whether that be Particl. Like, like the initial flood is probably going to go into Monero and Zcash because they're the two most known privacy coins. But then as that demand forces those coins, into higher prices, people are going to look for privacy anywhere they can find it. So I think it's very, very important to have a multi-coin privacy ecosystem of projects that all offer very, very good privacy and that, are going to be available when people actually need privacy.
Yeah. Even when Veil is a $1, our, current a few 10,000ths of a cent fee, you multiply that by the price, it's still going to be a fraction of a cent.
Yeah, and I think like there's going to be such a flood into privacy coins. Like when people realize that their Bitcoin has like an immutable record that shows everything they've ever done, and now these laws are changing, and things that weren't illegal before are now being classified as illegal, and there's immutable proof on the blockchain that's never going away that shows that you were engaging in these things that maybe weren't illegal but now they are. People are going to get spooked and look for privacy anywhere they can find it.
That's an interesting point, especially with what's happening in the EU. Now, from what I've heard, I haven't read their actual laws or anything, but outlawing like any non-custodial wallet, every non-custodial wallet, that is just ludicrous. Everyone has to have a Coinbase account or something like that that's fully KYC to the European Union. That's incredible. Some people think, oh, that will drive people away from privacy coins. Well, the thing is, it's against Litecoin, it's against Bitcoin, everything. And what can you do is to go to more privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is not for doing anything illegal or anything. I'll say illegal. I'm saying it's not for doing anything against natural laws. Natural law, not like regulation is so ridiculous that things can be both illegal and compulsory at the same time. And just they don't respect people. Even these countries that say that they respect Indigenous rights and everything like that, like Australia, and yet if you try and actually be a subsistence farmer and just live just subsistence life, just have what you need, grow what you need, whatever. If you have any kind of money, they want to tax out of the zero profit you've got. It's just not possible. Oh, that that reminds me of another episode one thing. I don't want to tread on everything that happened in episode one, but to say that to dismiss people because they only have a $10 UTXO. Oh, they're just poor. No way. That's why people need to have something that's affordable. Even for 50 pesos. And
exactly.
I'm not talking Mexican pesos here. There's a big difference.
A lot of these influencers have been telling people, like a lot of these like popular Bitcoin podcasters have been going to places like Africa, going to places like Latin America, telling people, look, just dollar cost average, just buy what you can afford every week or every month. When you get your check, take a little bit and put it aside. And in Latin America or in Africa, that may be a $5 UTXO per month. And you've been doing this for like a year, saving up all this money, trying to, break out of the fiat prison of devaluation. And then you find out that you're priced out of Bitcoin too, and you can't move your UTXO. And to me, it's just totally irresponsible to be telling people in emerging economies that no, just dollar cost average. And then, at the same time saying, oh, they're poor, or oh, they're just going to have to share their UTXOs with 100 other poor Bitcoin users. Like, to me, that's defeating the purpose.
These people are everyone. We are all these poor people. It's the majority of the world.
Exactly.
But I wonder how many of them. Really have a non-custodial wallet. They can be dollar cost averaging on Binance or Coinbase or whatever.
Or a custodial Lightning wallet.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother rabbit warren that we could climb down. But I don't know how much time we want to use for that. I did go to El Salvador. I did get a Blink wallet.
Nice.
I did mention Bitcoin Cash to Roman, and he said, shite coin, but not the exact word shite. But anyway, so there was no more talk on that then. But yeah, the thing is, what I liked about it was that it's an onboarding experience, even though it is totally custodial. And as someone said, it's basically a bank account, but it works with Litecoin. You can go into a supermarket in El Salvador and you can spend to Achivo cash register, a Lightning invoice, and you're done. And it works. The thing is non-custodial. So, well, to the extent that Litecoins can be non-custodial, it's a nightmare trying to figure that stuff out. That's why a custodial, aka banking solution like Blink Wallet, what used to be the Bitcoin Beach wallet, that's why it's a good place for someone to start, because not everyone is going to run their own node, run their own Lightning node. You know? But anyway, that's a whole another subject that maybe we can discuss privately or whatever. You know. But anyway, Veil is cheap enough, fees are cheap enough, and of course people will say, well, that's because there aren't many transactions and it hasn't pushed the fees up. But you know, so be it. That's the way it is, and it works for us.
It's pretty quick. The blocks are what, like one minute, 2 minutes, something like that? Because
1 minute, yeah,
Okay.
1 minute. It's possible that you don't get in the first block, and sometimes someone mines a block or stakes a block, and it doesn't take all of the mempool. It doesn't take all of the pending transaction. I have found in my testing, and I've done a lot, that, for instance, when I'm on testnet and I want to push some transactions through, I'll start mining, and the mined blocks will pick up the pending transactions more than the staked ones. But the staked ones do eventually pick them all up anyway. But a large one, like a budget transaction or something like that, multi-sig, can be fairly large, or if someone's got a lot of zero coins they're spending, that can be a fairly large transaction kilobytes wise. So, some wallets seem to, or some nodes seem to not necessarily pick them all up, but mine, if you look at there is a Superblocks spreadsheet accessible via the Veil Project website, and it actually shows every Superblock. Now the Superblock the Superblock is one that, and it probably should be discussed. It actually is the one that allocates money to the team, to the budget, and they go to multi-sig. They go to multi-sig, and it's the multi-sig ones that are they can take up a bit of space. You can see mostly the staked blocks have done the Superblock, which is interesting because that wouldn't necessarily be the smallest block ever. But I've found when trying to spend large transactions, the mined ones come through best.
I guess, like, what are you most excited about, like, on the Veil roadmap?
The main thing I'm excited about is not so much the actual work, but it's getting people back involved again, getting more devs in, reorganizing everything so that we've got clear projects. So obviously getting the Ring CT staking project working again, as far as sitting here maintaining a DevNet that's staking Ring CT, but we need some more devs to fix the bugs. If it is not better than what we're already doing, we won't do it. You know, people have said, "Oh, this is going to be great," you know. But if they're not helping, you know, then you know we're not necessarily going to do it just for the sake of doing it. It has to make Veil better. You know, right now you can privately stake. It'd be nice if you can stake with Ring CT and people didn't have to think about any other coin types. With the Light wallet that was released not so long ago, that it only thinks in Ring CT. It can't deal with any other thing. So if you've got anything on the Light wallet, you get it sent to your stealth address. It goes to Ring CT, and of course you can send to non-KYC exchange. At the moment, it's the only one that accepts a stealth address. That relies on a back-end API. You can have your own node do that, but by default it will use our Explorer node with a backup of another one, another node. So on the to an extent, they're reliant on a back end that we're providing, or one of two, depending on if one goes down. But people can set up their own node to do it, and that was That's the Veil Light Wallet API. You can find it on GitHub. And of course, there's plenty of discussion in Discord on all of these things. So there have been some very helpful people. Actually, I think it was one of our X is not a good name for Twitter because it makes it sound like an ex friend.
Yeah, I still call it Twitter. I
One of our Twitter friends. Yeah. I mean, I call it X a lot, but then when I'm thinking, someone on Twitter, one of our people, I can't really call them one of our ex people. But Wownero. I guess you've seen that name popping up. He posts a lot of Veil meetings like that. Actually, VeilMiner007 is the actual Twitter account.
Okay.
But you know how you have the display name? Wownero is his display name. But anyway, he put me on to you.
Yeah.
Strange coincidence that we both happen to be in Colombia, and then because I could have been anywhere. You could have been anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But here we are.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So,
I should,
do you guys do anything here locally?
Sometime.
Like, do you have any meetups or anything like here in Colombia?
Not yet. Not yet. But because most of the people we've got a pretty good following in the former Soviet Union. Anyway, no, I would really. There are multiple projects that I really want to get going in Colombia, and not all of them directly just Veil, but speaking as Veil project, yes, everything's Veil, but there are things that are complementary. There are things that are complementary because the one guy I've got in town that will accept a cryptocurrency, I need to get a few more people, and then he seems conducive to the idea of accepting Veil, at least if there is a number of people willing to use it. But at the moment, we haven't really got things going for Veil in Colombia yet. But I think that it should be promoted alongside other things, like it was Bitcoin Cash, his coffee place.
Okay.
But when I first spoke to him, it's like, you can pay my Binance account, Binance Bitcoin address or whatever, But it's like, I don't even use Binance, but some of the people they can only think of a custodial exchange or something like that, wallet situation. And I think that's necessary. And it's the only reason why that I think that even a project like Bitcoin Beach is a good thing on the whole, even if Lightning is horrible. It's dreadful. But it's a good experience so long as they don't try to do it all themselves. You can send them some sats. They can earn some sats just by answering a questionnaire in the wallet. This is a good onboarding experience. I discovered that, and this is not related to Veil at all, but I discovered that Bitmart you could send to your to a Lightning wallet, and the Blink wallet was useful simply because it has very well accepted Lightning channels.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a good thing. But I think it was free. I think I sent $80 from Bitmart to my Blink wallet. It's now over $100, by the way.
Nice.
But that's nice when that happens. And of course, I think when I first got that guy, the coffee merchant, accepting Bitcoin Cash, I think Bitcoin Cash was close to, it was several $100s, and since then it went down way below what it was. But now it's above that again. So I don't know. We have to do it in conjunction with other coins. We can't do it alone. So we can't in a vacuum. So people are going to use Monero, they're going to use Veil, but we want to be part of the fabric, that people are using. A handful. They can use a handful of different things. I don't know. I'm not plugging an exchange, but there's one that works in Colombia, in South America, Buddha. Do you know that one?
Yeah. I've actually used it a bunch.
Yeah, I haven't used it for a long time, but I used it in the previous bull run when I found I had some ETH. So I sent it there because I hate ETH, but it became worth some money. So what am I going to do with it? Yeah, I had to keep some. I really only kept it because I thought, well, I've got some other things, and you have to have ETH to be able to do any transactions.
Yeah, you need
that's
it for
the
gas
thing that's
for like a lot
trapping.
of the other coins.
Yeah. That's the thing that traps people into keeping ETH. So anyway, yeah, that's a good one. So the thing is, it has just like 4 coins or whatever. So you've got to include those kind of coins, Litecoin, BCH, BTC, USDT.
Yeah.
I don't really use USDT, but I probably should.
It's hugely popular here in Colombia. Like, there's a lot of people that work remotely and get paid in USDT, and then there's a lot of like USDT that people are using to buy stuff from like China, or like buy stuff from Vietnam, or like these countries that produce goods and send like shipping containers full of goods over here to Colombia. The bank transfers are just so inefficient that people are just sending Tether directly.
Yeah. Bank transfers. Yeah, I tried to set up a bank account in Colombia. And they basically, I'll name them, Davivienda. They told me that they would do it, and then they basically refused it and sent it back to Buddha. Yeah, it was only like $900 worth, and they refused it. Firstly, they got my name wrong. They put my name in the wrong order. They keep calling me by my middle name, and then it's any excuse. Basically, I had the account for 6 weeks. They spent all my money on fees for keeping the account, and I closed it. It was useless. People have got to have something different. So that was the only way I could turn anything in Buddha into pesos, and I couldn't do it.
Are you familiar with Monabit?
No.
It's basically like you can send your crypto to Monabit and then charge your debit card, and then you can use the ATM or swipe it at a store if they accept cards.
What fees? What fees would be involved?
The fees they're low. They're like under 1%, or they might be like around like 1%. They have like a decent selection of coins. There's like 8 or so coins that they accept. USDT is one of them. Mm-hmm. They have Ethereum, Bitcoin. I think they might have like Litecoin, like that. I don't have the app open right now, but I know that it works very well, like here in Colombia.
Okay. Yes, just because I'm pretty much allergic to fees.
Yeah.
The transactions, I don't.
Like if you throw like $100 on
friction.
It, like if you charge your card with like $100 worth of like Tether, for example, you'll get like 99 or something on the card. Like, so it's like a 1% fee.
Do they accept Tron-based Tether?
Yes.
Which one's like pretty much free? Yeah.
Yeah,
because
Tron.
Tether fees can be terrible. I'll just read Lightning. They cannot Lightning networks that can weigh also. But if they all use something like that in between each other, that can be a way to make it cheap.
The only problem that I see here is like that all the services that are like that are KYC'd. If you wanted to do like KYC free transactions, you really need to do peer-to-peer.
Oh, I'm going to have to cut this short now. We'll have to talk some other time.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you about crypto stuff. Thanks for letting us know about Veil. And is there anything you want to let the audience know, like how they can follow you on social media or how they can get involved with Veil?
Right, sure. The Twitter or X account is Project Veil, at Project Veil on Twitter, X, whatever. You can find all the links there. The main website is veil-project.com. And Discord is the main thing, but that's linked on the website.